Hello once more, my friends. We are here to read more strange stories. A wonderful story, actually, from Reddit user Strawberry Milk Elf. I'm enjoying your story. Thank you for submitting this. The Cosplaying Legbeard, Furry, Part 2. I began hearing from LB less and less after CCon. She posted a few petty Facebook statuses I was pretty sure were about me, but other than that, we drifted further and further apart. In the months between the next nearby convention, which I'll call ACON, I began to receive a flurry of anonymous hate messages on my Tumblr blog. I used my blog to post pictures of my cosplays, as well as a few memes and some art and some things I found funny. I was surprised I was getting hate mail, as I really didn't get messages at all. A lot of the messages said things like, "You're turning into someone you're going to hate. And you're not as great as you think you are." At first I didn't respond to them. I don't want to give the satisfaction. But I started to get the sinking feeling that LB was behind these messages. And being the sensitive teenager I was, that hurt. Eventually I had had enough and finally responded to the anonymous message with, "I know who this is." After that, the messages stopped. Once again, there was peace throughout the land. But it was only temporary. I later found out through Sweetie that LB had admitted to sending the hate messages to my blog. I'm sure Sweetie wasn't aware of this at the time, but knowing that really hurt me. I was beating myself up over the fact that someone I thought of as a friend would do this to me. Plus, ACON is approaching, and I knew LB was going to be there. LB had asked Sweetie to room with her, to which Sweetie agreed and invited me to join. Being the living doormat I was ready to accept, but my mom didn't want her 17-year-old to be in a hotel room with 3 other teenagers in fear of us drinking or partying too much. I have a very overprotective mother. So, she got a hotel room for me and her to stay in separately, which meant I was getting a ride to the convention from my mom, while Sweetie and LB took the bus. I met them there, arriving later than they did, and found Sweetie and LB talking with a massive dude cosplaying Guts from Berserk. We all talked for a bit and goofed off. Guts and LB were flirting pretty hard back and forth, so when they disappeared for a while, none of us were surprised as LB left saying she'd be going with Guts to his hotel room. We didn't see LB again until nighttime. Being a rowdy 17-year-old, Sweetie and LB being 16, we all went to the con looking for a party. Sweetie had snuck a flask from her parents' wine, and so had I, that we would drink and then go to the rave and dance until we dropped. Being from a small town, a flask of wine was the best we could do as teenagers. After leaving the rave, Sweetie and I start to wonder where LB went and if she was still with Guts. At that very moment, we entered the convention hall's lobby and see, on the floor, in tears, surrounded by drunk and concerned cosplayers, LB. We run up to LB thinking something had happened between her and Guts, and all she drunkenly slurs out is, "I'm too drunk! I'm so drunk!" Her breath smelled like fireball whiskey. Whoa! Oh! Oh, wow! Looks like LB snuck off to get the hard shit. Okay. Which she later confirmed as she slurred through tears. "Some guy gave me whiskey and it was so good, but I'm so drunk. I need to go home. I'm too anxious." Not knowing your limit. That's a real kick in the teeth, too. And there's only one way you learn what your limit is. Ouch. Sweetie, being the caring person she is, tells her we'll get her back to the hotel that they're staying at, and I call my mom for a ride. After I explain the situation to her, my mom rolls up in her minivan and we pile in. Sweetie takes the front seat, LB and I sit in the back. Their hotel's about a 5-minute drive from the convention center, so my mom was happy to help since she too had been a teenager and knew what it was like. On the ride to the hotel, Sweetie and I comforted LB, who kept saying how sorry and how drunk she was. I look up as my mom announced that we had arrived at the hotel. In the second I take to look away from LB towards the tall hotel building, I hear a sound next to me that, oh no, that sounds a lot like someone spilling water on the floor. Oh no. Suddenly the car fills up with the stench of bile, cinnamon, and alcohol. Oh, that first one's a real bastard too. LB threw up all over my mother's back seat and all over herself as well. She says nothing as Sweetie lets out an "oh my god" and unbuckles herself from the seat. Sweetie helps LB out of the car, all the while apologizing to my mom, who's trying to tell her that it's alright, these things happen. Apparently LB spent the rest of the night in the bathtub, covered in her own vomit, while my mom and I spent the rest of the night cleaning out the backseat of her car. See, kids, this is why Uncle Moonhorse always says when you decide to go out drinking, if you're going to get in a car and you know you're drunk, bring a bag. You're going to need it. I rarely see LB after this. I distance myself as I start to see the drama that tended to follow LB wherever she went. One time, she invited me to a sleepover, which I accepted. At the sleepover, I decided to apologize about C-Con. I still felt a bit guilty not being able to give her a ride, and she tells me, "It's okay, Ham. I just wish you weren't such a flake sometimes." This shocks me into silence. During the sleepover, she talks to me about being a Wiccan, as I was just starting to get into the belief system at the time. She starts to tell me how she worships fairies and they leave her presents. She also proceeds to tell me that her room is haunted and she uses a Ouija board to communicate with said spirit. Okay. She also tells me she believes she is a reincarnation of Alois Trancy, an anime character from the show Black Butler. Oh no. Oh god. Strawberry milk elf, I think I know exactly what you just got yourself into. As well as a reincarnation of Lestat the vampire from the book Interview with a Vampire. Yeah. Needless to say, this was the last time I slept over at her house. We met in person once more by accident at a local county fair. Sweetie and I had gone together and ran into LB by chance. It was really hot that time of year, so we're all dressed in short shorts and t-shirts, and LB had cut her shirt into a crop top. She then proceeded to talk to Sweetie and I about her 34-year-old boyfriend. She was 18 at the time. And body positivity. All the while telling me I had skinny privilege. And that because I was thin, I perpetuated fat shaming. Really? The offhand comments about my body made me once again go into my shell and stay quiet for the rest of the night. She continues to chain smoke cigarettes, saying they were appetite suppressors, and offering them to Sweetie and I before looking at me and adding, "You probably don't need that, though." At the time, I was a ballerina and tried smoking cigarettes before. So I took one and smoked it just to prove some kind of point. Stupid, I know, but at the time I felt like I was really sticking it to her. The last I heard of LB was 2 years ago, my freshman year of college. I found myself at a party and met none other than Guts there. It turned out we were in the same major. We became fast friends. I tell him I remember him because of LB, to which he turns red and laughs. He later tells me that LB lied to him about her age the day they gone back to his hotel room and hooked up. She was originally 16, but said she was 18. Guts had been 18 and thought nothing of it until he found her Facebook page and realized how old she actually was. Apparently, after he stopped talking to her, she accused him of being a rapist and an abuser, which she had done to her first ex-boyfriend as well. In hindsight, she had a habit of falsely accusing all of her exes of being rapists or abusers, to which Sweetie, Guts, and I all had a good eye roll at. During Halloween, Guts and I were in the same friend group and decided to take a picture together, which we posted on Instagram, thinking nothing of it. LB had seen this, although I'm not sure how, because I'm certain she didn't follow either one of us and message Sweetie in a rage saying, Ham has no self-awareness. How dare they post a picture with guts? Ham is so horrible. Flaky friend. Sweetie told me this. I'm happy to say I just laughed it off. I'd come a long way since high school, and things like that just don't fucking bother me anymore. To this day, I have no idea where LB is or what she's doing, and I plan on keeping it that way. Okay. I am making sure that I keep a very specific part of this story on the screen, because Strawberry Milk Elf or Ham, or whichever you want to be just addressed by, I know what you've run into, because I have talked about these people before. Oh yeah. So, I now understand the furry part of the Legbeard story. But my dear, that was not a furry. I'm going to explain something to all of you because you need to know. This is a vital thing if you're going to exist in conventions or anything like that that involves meeting a lot of people in costume, because these groups tend to exist there. There is a very distinct difference between furry and what you met, which is an otherkin. Okay? And I know this. A lot of you are just like, Moonhorse, you're splitting hairs. No, you need to know. Because there is a very distinct difference. I used to be friends with a lot of furries, and the big thing I know about furries is they like to sometimes, not all of them, some of them like to wear costumes, get really shit-faced, hang out at hotels, sometimes there are weird sexy times involved. Never been a part of that, but the alcoholism is fun. Sometimes. Don't go crazy with it. However, at no point in time, I am leaning weirdly away from the microphone because I need another glass of wine to finish this story. At no point in time does the lady in the wolf costume or the man in the rabbit suit honestly believe that they are either a wolf or a rabbit. These are costumes. These are personas. For example, I do not honestly believe the man who voices Bugs Bunny thinks that he is Bugs Bunny. It's a persona, a character. That is what furry is. It's the pretending of a character to act on a fantasy. Sometimes it's sexual, sometimes it's not, but that's the entire point of that. Why am I explaining this in detail? So that I can tell you what otherkin is. My God, I can't believe I didn't put this together until just now. When you first started talking about it, the ability to get offended at anything, the pettiness over Tumblr, and then suddenly saying that the reincarnation of anime and book and movie characters? Yes, my friend. You have witnessed an otherkin. Something I have only witnessed third party. That's right. I've never been quite the anthropologist to be close enough to witness them in person. I've seen their posts, but always long after they've gone. It's kind of like finding scratchings on a cave wall. The reason I described to you what a persona a furry puts on is because, go back to the lady in the wolf suit. Her persona, or fursona, if you will, is that of this wolf character. She does not actually think she's a wolf. And otherkin, on the other hand, absolutely does believe they are the things they say they are. There are otherkin who believe they are 100% a wolf spirit, in which case they will not only wear wolf-like things, sometimes, not all the time, but they will, on occasions, bark and or growl at strangers, or sometimes raw beef in the hamburger aisle. Look, I will say this. When it came to the furries, I knew the biggest issue they had was substance abuse. There's a lot of drugs and alcohol in the furry community, and honestly, it's getting a little scary. Seriously, guys, rein it in. Come on, just pull it back a little. The otherkin community, on the other hand, is, as far as I know, not nearly as filled with drunken debauchery or narcotics-fueled binges. But there's a lot of screaming and fighting and a lot of very strange things about being kin type of a million different things. So someone who believes that they are and I know, I talked about furries, and like, well, this person said they're an anime character and a book character. That is not outside the realm of possibilities, friends. That is absolutely a thing. These are, and I can't believe I know the names of these. It's because I watched a lot of videos on weird shit, because I have no life. These are what is referred to as fiction kin. I'm gonna say it again, because you might think that there was something crazy in your ear. There wasn't. The word is fiction kin. That's right, I said it twice. Yeah, this is a thing. This is a real thing, and it exists in certain sites and groups and all this other stuff on the internet, which, in and of itself, much like furries or neckbeards or, any of that kind of stuff, can be perfectly harmless. It's true. It can be perfectly harmless. However, as we know from interaction with these groups, this is not always the case. Oh no, no. And much like an adventurous reporter into places filled with nightmarish visitations from narcotic monstrosities, sometimes the worst monsters crawl out of the woodwork just so you can look at them. That seems to be where our friend LB comes from. I now completely understand why you would say that this person is a furry, because believe me, if you have never seen the two of these things and know their definitions, you wouldn't know, which is totally understandable, because there really isn't enough information about this. Because honestly, there really should be more information about this. You would think that, the entire furry subculture thing would, have a PR department specifically dedicated to being this is a thing we don't do, and it's weird. But they don't, so you have to find this shit out secondhand. I can go on long tirades about, furries and internet subcultures, but this video's long enough. Let's not do that. Wow. On one hand, I'm actually jealous that you actually get to meet a real live psychotic otherkin in the flesh. But on the other hand, I'm really sorry you actually had to go through that, because it sounds just fucking awful. So, but thank you, holy shit, thank you for sharing this story. I didn't think this was going to come out of this. I expected Legbeard craziness. I expected more, dramatic nonsense. But holy shit, you just made my night. I am so fucking happy. Thank you for this. Seriously, thank you. And if you have more stories, I want you to write them. You're actually a really good writer, by the way. This is really good, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot. And that goes for all of you. If you want to write stories and you want me to read them, you should send them to my subreddit at r/Moonhorse Stories. I read pretty much everything there. I mean, yeah, I'll check it out. And if you'd like to support this channel, and I hope you do, I have a Patreon, and I also sell t-shirts and stuff. Links to all of these, in no particular order, are down below. And again, thank you for watching. I hope this has been as informative to you as it has been enjoyable for me to do. Holy shit, I'm grinning like a maniac right now. This is awesome. Okay, I love you all. Goodbye.